All right, there we are. Good evening, friends. Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulty getting us started here, but that's okay. We roll with the punches. My name is Dennis LaRue, and you are watching hashtag steeltoesrequired, quote of the week, episode 22. Now, that's right. Last week I said episode 22, and I realized, oops, I messed up. So this week is episode 22. Last week was episode 21. So glad you're here. I am your Chief Inspiration Officer, your Chief Encouragement Officer, and your weekly wingman, bringing you quotes that step on your toes. You know, speakers will say this. They will say, hey, what I'm about to say is going to step on your toes. It's going to get you uncomfortable. And it's going to poke, it's going to prod you into action that's going to get you out of your comfort zone. So that's what I'm here to do, and it's so honored to have you with me. So do me a favor and jump in. Let me know you're here watching. I see Trent and Rick, Manuel, John Gilbert saying, hey, John, glad to see you, buddy. Rick, my mom's on here. So are you guys ready? Are you ready? I love bringing these quotes to you every week. And this week's quote comes from one of you out here in the tribe. Her name is Melanie Qualls-Ake. Melanie and I had a great conversation this week. And she is a coach, a leadership coach and consultant. And Melanie, if you're out there, do me a favor and post the link to your podcast here in the group, if you would, please. The name of it is Everyday Leaders 50 and 50. It's a great podcast. It added tremendous value to me listening to it. And so I want her to post it. It's available on iTunes. It's available through Google. And she has another link to it. So if she's not out here, I think she's flying, we'll get it out there to you. So with that said, Ann Eileen, glad to see you here. So her quote is a great quote. I love it. I'm going to tell you the story behind it, and I'll give you a few pointers. All right? So who's ready for the quote? Who's ready? If you're ready, show me some hearts, show me some thumbs up, put I'm ready in the comments, because here's one thing I know, you guys interact very well together. And I see it all the time, so I'm grateful for all of you interacting. I see my mom is obviously ready. Mom and Dad are ready for me. John's ready. I appreciate that. Rick's ready. Outstanding. So give me two more. All right, I'm ready. I am ready to bring this quote. This quote comes from a hockey legend. That's right, I said hockey. And my friend Melanie is the one that gave it to us, okay? So, hockey legend, the great one, Wayne Gretsky, here it is. He said, quote, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Let that sink in for a second. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's the great one, Wayne Gretsky. The reason he's called the great one is because he took a lot of shots and they went in the net. Okay? Now, Melanie shared this quote, and when I was talking with her this week, I asked her, I said, hey, she gave me so much value in our conversation, and so I wanted her to share her quote. So I asked her, I said, hey, Melanie, what is your go-to, no-kidding quote that you always go to when you're up against it, or people that you talk to all the time? Which is, what quote is the one that brings you? Mark Cole, I am so honored you're on here. I appreciate you. What's that one go-to quote that you always go to? We all have them. We all have a quote that when people come to us, we either share that quote, or when we're up against it, it's that one motivating quote that jogs our hearts, our minds into action. And I asked her what hers was. Hey, Anthony, good to see you, brother. And she said, without missing a beat, she said this quote from Wayne Gretsky: "You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take." And I said, wow, Melanie, share your story. How in the world did you come up with that quote? And here it is. You see, Melanie played hockey. Now, the Winter Olympics just ended recently, and there is a women's hockey team, a U.S. women's hockey team, Canada, all over the world. So my assumption was Melanie played women's hockey. Was I wrong? Actually, growing up, she played hockey in an all-boys league for 12 years. And she heard this quote in a playoff game. So hockey, for those of you that have no clue about hockey has 3 periods. And in between each period, so in between the first and second period is kind of like a halftime. And then in between the second and third is another break. And so I'm assuming with Melanie, we were going from the second to the third period, and it was a playoff game. Coach is fired up, and he's giving a locker room motivational talk. And he said to Melanie, he said to the team, he shared this quote. He said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." And he told Melanie, even though you play defense, I want you to shoot the puck. I want you to start taking shots on goal. And for a defender, that's hard to do because your mindset is protecting your own net. It's not shooting the puck into somebody else's. So what did Melanie do? She acted. She jumped right in. She said she didn't take 1 shot on goal in the third period. She took 7. She took 7 shots on goal. And 1 of them went in. She scored a goal. And that goal was the game winner. The game-winning goal in a playoff game because her coach told her he wanted her to score. He said he wanted her to take shots, and she took shots, and 1 went in. And so me being the sports fan, and I'm all about memories and memorabilia, I had to ask this question. I said, "Hey, Melanie, did you keep the puck?" And without batting an eye, she said, "Absolutely, I still have it." So she has the puck. She scored a goal. So what's the point of all of this? The point is, if you don't take the shot, it doesn't go in. Now, I can talk sports all night long. I could keep you guys here all night long talking sports. Mom and Dad know that's true, and a lot of you that are on here know that's true as well. I love sports, and I love sports analogies and sports stories. So what's the point here? The point is this. First off, in life, you play to win the game. You don't play for average. Nobody plays the game to lose or to tie. It doesn't happen. You play to win the game. And in order to play to win the game, you have to take shots and score. So what does that look like for you in your life? Where do you need to take some shots and score? Maybe you're running a business like me. And in order to play to win the game, you need to make sales. Or you need to book clients. Or you need to get out of your comfort zone and reach those clients that you definitely want to reach. You see, remember last week we talked about the fear, living in the fear of what other people think. Is that holding you back here from shooting and scoring? Because you see, you can devise the greatest plan, and it can be the perfect game plan. But if you don't take the shot, the game plan is just that. It's just a plan. It's just on paper, or it's just in your brain, or it's just on your computer, or a mind map, or whatever you use to plan. But if you don't execute the plan, if you don't take the shots to execute the plan, it's worthless. You know, when I think about games, I think about one of my favorite coaches that's out there right now is the new head coach for Arizona State University's football, Herman Edwards. Herman Edwards inspires me like nobody else. He fires me up. And he said this. He says, you play to win the game, okay? There's no in between. You play to win the game. So what about you? Are you playing to win your game? Whether that's in your business, at home, in the organizations you're a part of, what does winning the game look like to you? Because you see, if you don't get off the bench and onto the ice or onto the court or out the front door, you can't win the game. It's just that simple. You see, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. In this case, Melanie took 7 shots. She only made 1. That's 14%, people. 14%. But that one shot that went in won the game. Baseball. We remember baseball players. And do you know that baseball players at the plate, the ones that are remembered as Hall of Famers, missed anywhere from 60 to 70% of the pitches that were pitched to them? That's right. Do the math. If you bat 300, which is a good average in the major leagues, that means you've missed 70% of the pitches thrown to you. You didn't get on base. So, what about you? Are you in the game? Expect uphill climbs. Expect uphill battles. But if you're not in the game, you're batting zero. You're batting zero. And also remember this, it takes practice. Now in our story, Melanie took 7 shots. She wasn't afraid to shoot, she shot. But in the game of life, you got to practice. You got to be consistent. So, what does consistency look like for you? You've got to get out there each day. And maybe if you're in sales, you got to make those calls. You've got to send those letters. You've got to follow that system each day, following up with people each day. You've got to follow your process for that one moment where you shoot and score. With family, maybe, there's a family member that you've just got to invest more time in than others. And you got to do it consistently. And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and spending that time and sharing that story with them, spending that quality time with them until eventually one day they get it and they move forward. So what does that look like for you today? Here's your action step. As we're landing the plane today, here's your action step. What is your shot that you need to take? Now see, and it's the first one that just came to your mind. You know you need to take a shot here. Maybe it's a business client. Maybe it's speaking to someone. Whatever that is, what is that first thing that popped into your mind that is the shot you need to take? Because if you don't take it, you won't know what's going to happen. So your action step is to take the shot this week, whether it's a client, whatever that was that popped into your head. That is your action step. That is the person, the place, the thing that you need to go to this week and take action on. Because you see, we just shared a quote from the great one, the greatest hockey player ever, talking about taking shots and not taking shots. Had he not taken the shots, we wouldn't be using him this week as a quote. He would have been just another bench warmer playing professional hockey. But instead, he took shots, and he took chances, and he took risks, and he created some memorable moments. Where do you need to take a shot? Where do you need to take some risk? Where do you need to create a memorable moment? Because there's somebody out there waiting for you to take your shot. They're waiting for you to take that shot. So take it. Take that shot. And so with that, if this added value to you, would you do me a favor? Would you do me the honor? Because my goal with #SteelToesRequired is simply this. I want to bring a positive message. I want to get people unstuck. I want to be that catalyst that moves people forward to the next level of their lives. And I want to do that with 1 million people. And right now, we're at over 10,000 so far. Since I've been doing these for 22 weeks, we're roughly at 10,000. But that's a far cry shy from 1 million. Would you do me the honor and just share this to add value to your people? Even if maybe it's somebody you know. Maybe there's just one person that you know that this would be a positive influence in them. Would you share it with them, please? That's all I ask. Thank you so much. Now, before we go, it's time for the blessing. It's my favorite part. I love this part. And I'm not going to lie, I got this from It's a Wonderful Life because it just impacts my life. So here you go. I pray the blessing of bread that you know no hunger. I pray the blessing of salt that your life would be flavorful and that you would be flavorful in other people's lives. And then I pray the blessing of wine, that prosperity and joy would be yours forever, and that the love of God would be your portion this day and forevermore. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate each one of you. Take a moment to share this. And again, Melanie Qualls, thank you so much for sharing this quote. Do me a favor, go check her out. Friend request her on Facebook and go check out her podcast called Everyday Leaders 50 and 50. And with that, this is Dennis LaRue saying thank you so much. We'll see you next week on the hashtag SteelToesRequired quote of the week. Take care, my friends. Have a great one.